Hello, I'm Eliza, your yoga lifestyle coach. Today, we are going to look into an ancient form of moving the belly. So, first of all, I want to thank my mom. When I was 16 years old, she took me to my first belly dancing class. And then again, her and I went to another 6-week series of belly dancing class when I was 20 years old. So that really inspired me for movement and finding movement from the old style of exercise and such. So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to share with you a little bit of what is this form of belly dance. Today, I want to just focus on how do we move within the abdomen to create this style that was designed for the women that were becoming of age and going to be having babies within their families. And then us Americans got a hold of belly dance and we kind of changed it up and we brought it out of the privacy areas and put it into the festivals and such. So, with that being said, let's think about some of these movements. And we'll start with our neck. And with our neck, we can let the head fall forward and we can allow the eyes to stay focused on a spot as we allow the head to come to the side. And the other side. Back and forth like this, one more time. Oh, thank you for being here. Hello. And thank you for being a part of shoulder rolls. So we can take both shoulders and roll the shoulders, and we can be aware of our arms and what the snakes are doing on our arms. And then we can walk backwards as we take one shoulder back, take that leg back. As we take the other shoulder back, take that leg back. Take a shoulder and a leg back. Take a shoulder and a leg back. And now let's continue with our shoulder rolls. And let's take a shoulder and the opposite leg forward. A shoulder roll and the opposite foot forward. One shoulder, opposite leg. And we can bring that foot crossing over. Nice. And then let's think about going from side to side. And let's start with some wrist circles. And let's travel this way. So let's extend our body. And just think about rolling your wrists. And as you roll your wrists, think about stepping and reaching. And each time you step, reach. And look, we're already getting some of our belly work. And reach. One more step. And one last reach this way. And then let's think about going the other way. So think about the hands. Maybe the fingers open and then the fingers close. Big circles, and the wrist circles can even come from the shoulder joint. And then we can do that big reach. So make this your practice. Allow me to be your guide. One last reach, one more big reach. And beautiful work, wonderful. And then let's think about taking those wrist circles overhead, one in front of us, one overhead, get a nice lateral stretch, and then change, and create a nice side stretch, and just keep some movement going somewhere, like in our wrists. And now let's start getting the whole body involved. Oh, thanks for being here. Give yourself a big hug. So that's a nice round stretch. And then open. So notice what's happening to our spine as we roll forward. Big hug. And roll back. And look how this can be a little bit of a movement. So when you turn this into a dance, this is just our warm-up so far. But when you turn belly dance into your dance, then just be aware of what's going on. What would the music be? If we had music, what would that be inspiring us to do? And then from here, we can do some hip circles. So traditionally, we can just place the hands on the hips, or we can outline the hips with our hands. So our hands can go the same way. Both hands can be the same way, and they can be on the outside. So when we pivot this way, both fingers can be that way. And when we pivot that way, both fingers can be pointing this way. So when we do our hip circles, we have a little, yes, that's right, little accent here with the hands. And then reverse. So we're to the side, to the front, to the side, to the back. Now let's think about the head, staying still. Now we're getting more into the core. As we continue with our hip circles, try not to let the head move, and then we're really starting to go beyond our warm-up and getting into creating that core strength. And looking at our arms, let's take one arm and twist it back, and then let's take this other arm and twist it back. But then we're twisting the arms in the opposite direction. And notice that the one arm, when we're twisting it forward and the thumb is facing it to the back, notice how that arm wants to be weak. So see if we can extend and elongate through that arm to keep that arm parallel with the shoulder. Whew. And then same thing on this side. So then we're just going back and forth. And look how it can move the shoulders. We can get the hips out of the way to create this arm movement, hence allowing the abdomen to help come into the strength of the arms. Ah, beautiful. And in the ancient days, they would practice by holding a little candle, and of course they wouldn't want to drop the candle. And so we could take that candle and keep the palm up. Think about a figure 8. So as we make this figure 8, notice how my palm keeps facing upward. So we're facing that palm upward, and as we come up over the head, get the head out of the way. As we come down towards the hips, get the hips out of the way. And look at this. We're already moving just by thinking about this, holding the candle. All right, we tried that on this arm. Now let's try it on the other arm. So for me, it just seems to work a little better if I think about coming from the back And then move my hips out of the way, slide through the hips, bringing the hand not only forward, but up. So I'm thinking about that figure 8. I can look up at the candle. I can continue to watch my hand. I can continue to look at my imaginary light on the candle. And look what this does to the dance. Just this little awareness. Now what if we put them both together? So let's start one up and start one down. Okay, let's see if we can do this. So starting up and down. Am I doing it? Ooh, this is a hard one. And now look at the elegance here. And look at what we're doing with our ribs and our hips. Just with that little candle twirl. That was beautiful. So as we're going through our practice, let's be aware of our posture. So typically the feet sometimes are flat to the ground. I'll tell you if one needs to be up or the other. And we usually try to keep the knees bent. And then the back body is long. The front body is strong. And shoulders above hips, ears above shoulders. And then we have that beautiful elongation with the strength, that core strength. So let's take a look at our palms. So when we do our finger work, we can be aware of when one hand is up, then those fingers can be in. And when the palm is down, the fingers can be open. So that's one way of addressing more of the wrist circles with our finger movement. All right, so we can think about that. And then let's jump right in to snake arms. So in snake arms, so first of all, what is snake arms? What is a snake? So yes, I had a pet snake, and my pet snake was a help to my belly dance. And within the dance, it was cute when my snake was this big, because then I could put him around usually I put him around my wrist. And then when he came this big, then I tied him around my waist. I found out that he became her. Well, anyways. And so it's hard to tell what a snake gender is when it's so tiny, but when she grew larger, then we found out that she was a girl. And so if you're aware of snakes, they travel forward, backward, to the side. And now, just for these snake arms, what we're going to think about is we're going to just start with this arm. And as we think about this arm, so the fingers is the snake head. So now one thing that a snake head does not do is it doesn't bend by itself. It's elongated from the body. And so just like we did in our warm-ups, we're going to think about our shoulders, okay? But instead of letting the palm follow those shoulder forward, shoulder backward. And notice how the palm is just following along. So can we keep the palm down, but still think about rolling the shoulder forward? Ooh, rolling the shoulder backward. All right, now instead of thinking about the shoulder, but now we understand that the shoulder has to come forward and it has to go backward, all the while the palm stays down. Here we go. So think about when the elbow comes up, the back of the fingers are extended, kind of like against a wall. And then we're going to paint down the wall, just the width of the hand. So we paint down the wall, forward and backward, forward and backward. So this would be an easy, non-committal, no exercise way of doing the snake arms. But if we really want to get the abdomen, the shoulder, the cardiovascular system involved in snake arms, then we're really opening and open, close the shoulder, lifting up, down the elbow, palm. Okay, now watch. Does this look like a snake? Feel that? Can you see that? Are you joining me, or are you just being entertained by watching me? Come on, at least if you're sitting on the chair, you can try the snake arms. So healthy for opening the chest, exposing our heart. Okay, let's try the other arm. So let's catch your breath first. And then elongate the arm. So we're making the arm long, but yet we're dropping the shoulder. And let's think about our work. Shoulder forward, shoulder back. Elbow up, elbow down, palm down and up. So down, I'm doing it, there we go, there it goes. There's some effort. So try to keep the palm not moving too much. Think about that shoulder, and I'm really getting my body out of the way, and as it comes forward, kind of help that forwardness by pushing my hip that way. And then as I open up, I let my hip come out to help that openness. And look at that. Just thinking about a snake arm on one side, we're already in motion. All right, can we put them both together? Snake arms, I think, is the foundation of being aware of how the abdomen is helping to move. So let's see here. Oh, there it is. Shoulder blades moving. Okay, and whew. Oh. All right, good work. Now, hip lifts. So let's think about putting our weight onto our right leg, and let's have, so I'll talk opposite so that you can be mirrored by me. So weight heavy on our left leg, and then our right leg is we're thinking about those oblique muscles, and we're contracting and lifting, and then let it drop. So use that oblique strength to lift, to pinch, and then let it open. And now don't make the mistake of just bending your knees and then taking this leg and straightening it, and then bending it. So this is non-committal. This is weak. This is no exercise. So really think about those obliques. Reach them up, let them go. Reach them up, let them go. Hence, work up, drop it down. Hey, hip drops. Okay, so whatever you try on one side, try it on the other side. So it's the abdominal lift that's working, and now we can bring the hands and emphasize with our wrist circles. Lift up and release. Lift up and release. Okay, so that was hip drops. So now hip lifts. We're gonna start on this right side, and we're going to bring the hip up. Bring the hip up. Almost like if you're closed your car door and it didn't get closed all the way. Of course, that would be, pushing the car door so that it latches tightly, which is an easy way to do this. But I want you to be aware of the belly, bringing that hip up. So now the emphasis is coming up quickly. Hip lifts, lift, lift, hip lift. All right, now let's think about a vertical figure 8. And as we think about the hips doing a vertical figure 8, vertical means up, right? All right, so this hip, first of all, we have to start with it out. So this hip is going to come up just like we did. Okay, we did that strength. And now we're coming down through center. Now this hip has to go out, and then we have that strength to lift up. And look at that. We're doing vertical figure 8s with the hips. So what can we do with our arms as we're practicing? So just move your arms. Just let it be organic. Let it be you. Don't think like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Just do something. All right. Figure 8s horizontally. So then horizontally is we're going to stay in one parallel line, and we're going to imagine that the hips are drawing the circle on the ground so that the figure 8 and the hips stay parallel. So we're going to start with the hip back to the back, and then we're going to bring it around to the front. We're going to shift our weight onto the back leg so we can take that hip to the back, and then we're going to circle it around to the front, shift our weight so we go back. So I'm trying to keep my knees in a certain bent position so that we're doing horizontal figure 8s. Yes. And then think about the head, and can we keep the head still? Ooh, that makes it a little harder. And if we can keep the head still, then there, now you can feel that abdominal strength working to move the hips. And what are we doing with our arms? There, and we've got something going on. And then from here, let's do that side to side thing again. And let me come over here so that we'll start here, and then we'll go down this way. And as we go down this way, let's talk about our ribs, sliding our ribs. So as we slide the ribs, we slide the rib, but let's take that foot first, and then we'll slide the rib past that leg, and then we'll put our feet together. So we're working on going towards the right. So we put the foot out first, and then we put the rib cage further than the foot, and then relax the shoulders. We can reach the arms so that when we do our rib slide, there it is. Yes, nice. So really using those obliques. Yeah, good. And reach. Keep doing the wrist circles, or we've already learned to take our fingers and bring them in. One more step, and then let's work on the other side. So now let's bring this rib all the way past this leg and feel that slide, and then bring the foot in, and we can do wrist circles around the face. So really sliding that rib cage over, bring the other foot in. Yes. Do I look like I'm in pain? Well, maybe a little bit. Not pain. I'm exercising. I'm pushing myself beyond my limits. I am aware of my core strength, helping. One last one here. And so let's continue to be aware of our rib cage. And within the rib cage, We did our sliding side to side as we walked. Now let's go forward and backward with the ribs. So we can be aware of being the belly awareness. So let's just kind of plan plans for this one, because coming forward I think that's easy. All right, now this is really easy, but not correct, to just sink back, forward and clunk back, forward and clunk back. But now look at my head. My head is going up and my head is going down. We don't want to do it like that. So we want to be aware of sliding forward. The head stays on a parallel plane, and we use that core strength to take that rib cage and push it back. Forward, back, forward, core strength, and it goes straight back. So then the rib cage is moving all by itself. Hopefully my hips are stationary, and hopefully my head is stationary. So try, look in the mirror at home as you're practicing along with me, and see if you too can cultivate some core strength by taking that rib cage forward and backward. Forward, one more time, backward, and then we can do circles one way, and we can do circles the other way, and then we can also do squares. Corner, up, corner, down, corner, up, and then when you do a square one way, do your square the other way as well. And then we can also get into our arm spirals. So make the arm spirals be yours. What are they? What does it feel like for you? And then we can do the body wave. Sometimes it's called the camel wave. And I'm going to turn to the side here because the body wave is so fun. So we get the whole body involved. And depending on what move you're looking for, depending on what you're wanting to express, we can allow the head to go forward and backward like the body is undulating. Of course, for more strength, we keep the head still. There. And then we have a nice strong abdominal work to create that body wave. So see how I'm bending my knees and then I'm straightening them to kind of help with that back and forth hip. Yes. Beautiful. And then we can grab our scarf and we can put this all together. And as we put it all together, just let it be whatever it needs to be for you, whether it's the butterfly or the twist forward and backward, or maybe, yes, we have plenty of room here, or maybe it's the forward and the backward. So that's getting the whole body involved, lunging one way, lunging the other way. And there's so much that we can do with the scarf. We can create that mystery. We can be aware of seeing our body through the scarf, and we can be aware of ending our program the same way we began the program, with belly dancing, belly movement.